ticket.
No? Okay.
We're done with this now.
We were done about 30 seconds ago. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas,
everybody.
Love the Christmas greetings. They're so fun. All right, 12 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. The other day, speaking of fun, I got a box full of fun on my desk, and I said, whoa, this is more than a couple of books. You know, I got a lot of books on my desk, and a lot of packages carrying books, I should say, and I open them up, and of course, then we have to decide whether we want to speak to the author. We definitely want to speak to this author. Jate Hems is his name. He's on the phone. He's written a book called The Devil's Science. It's part of a series of books he's writing, and I know that because this is book one in the beginning. So this sounds like this is going to be something he's doing for a while. It is a novel. It says here that Jate studied all forms of world religion. He happens to be an attorney, and he also, in addition to religion, he studies science and astronomy. So that is as well-rounded as you could possibly be. I just don't see medical on here. So I can't ask him medical questions. Jate Hems, good morning, Jate. How are you?
Great, and thank you very much for this opportunity to be on your radio show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Florida. I'm in Kissimmee, Florida.
Oh, Kissimmee. Oh, that's right. I think I spoke to you before, didn't I, when we were setting this up?
All right. And I just wanted to mention, you said something about not medical, but that wouldn't be true. I was a disability representative, and I represented the handicapped and injured people. So actually, I a lot of times had to take testimony from doctors. So I did have quite a bit of extensive area in medical as well.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, religion and science do sort of cross paths. I mean, you have to wonder sometimes. For example, the Christmas story. I mean, we don't really know what that star was that the wise men were following. We don't really know what it was. And especially if it was moving. I mean, no star actually moves. So who knows what that was? But it's just one example of how science and religion can cross paths, at least speculatively.
Oh, I agree. And I mean, in a lot of ways, I think in the back of my book, I said something to the effect of, I am really proud of this current Pope that we have, because he is one of the first ones to actually say that science is not the enemy of the church. That, you know, that science can actually be incorporated into a lot of these religious aspects. And that, you know, that things that happen, not necessarily because they have a scientific explanation, negates the fact that there isn't a higher being.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. And you know, the whole thing with, I don't know who got in trouble. Was it Galileo who said the sun is the center of the solar system and not the earth, and somehow that was against the rules, or it was blasphemous in some way? And where in the Bible does it say the earth is the center of anything? I think you're right. I think the religious leaders have to step back sometimes and say, you know, we got to listen to them just like we want them to listen to us.
Oh, I agree. And it's like, you know, they try to explain what the beginnings of reality in our universe. And, of course, they talk about the Big Bang and all that. But, you know, everybody goes to, well, what happened before the Big Bang? It was obviously this small singularity that was extremely dense that exploded. But, you know, who created that? I mean, you have to go one step behind. And that's where the scientists kind of, you know, they shrug and everything else. And that's where you can incorporate religion. Somebody of a higher power and obviously a higher intelligence had to create something that started this whole thing in motion. Yeah.
What I love, I mean, there's no way to really wrap my head around some of these things, but when you hear that scientists are observing a supernova, a star exploding, and then you hear that it's 150 million light years away, and then you think about that, you say, well, wait a minute, that means that explosion happened 150 million years ago. So whatever is there now is not what we're seeing. It just boggles your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like time travel. While we're looking at the stars, I mean, we're not seeing the stars as they are now. These stars that we're seeing now may no longer exist.
Right.
They have not existed for hundreds of thousands of years. I came up with this recent thing is, you know, the sun takes 8 minutes for its light to come to us. So say hypothetically, you know, like in Star Trek, they beamed the sun away, and all of a sudden the sun was gone. Well, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes.
Right.
For 8 minutes,
right.
sit outside and have a suntan, and the sun would no longer exist.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that concept in itself itself is just mind-blowing. I think science is fantastic when it comes to things like that.
So I think what you're showing us, Jate, is the way you think, and I love that. So let's take that and go to the book now. So do these kinds of thoughts play a role in how you write as an author, and especially with this particular book?
With the dialogue.
Well, the thing is, yes, it does. I mean, science has always been a big thing for me, and I wanted to make sure when I wrote this book it was as accurate as possible. I mean, I went through scrupulous amounts of research to make sure everything that I stated in these books were as scientifically accurate as possible. Because especially when you're writing toward sci-fi fans and stuff of that nature, boy, you have not a more critical group than those guys. So I definitely, wanted it to be as accurate as possible, and I wanted to incorporate that into it. As I said, it's a combination of two things, though. Two of my favorite things. It's not only science fiction, it's also horror, because I was a big horror fan. I was born on Halloween. So, myself, I couldn't help but I loved, scary movies, the zombie movies, and The Exorcist, and all those different movies. To me, those were fantastic. And, of course, I'm a big Trekkie fan and Star Wars fan and this and that. So I love both of those aspects. So I wanted to create a series of books that incorporated both aspects, the horror and the sci-fi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What you're doing with your devil character is that sometimes the reader almost feels sorry for it.
Right. That's true. He is. Well, that's what I want to do. I wanted to give a little summary of it because that way we can discuss just a couple of those aspects of it, if that would be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we need to do in order to sell the book. We want people to know what's inside the book.
Okay. Well, as I said, I tried to incorporate actual events into the story, and it's a fictional story, obviously, but it's also I wanted to incorporate as much real things as possible. Our Voyager spacecraft, which we sent out almost 40 years ago, which we are very, very proud of, has left our solar system and is left for interstellar space.
Isn't that cool?
It is. It's man-made, and it has left our solar system and is heading off to unknown areas at this point. And in my story, The Devil's Science, it is detected by a race of advanced aliens that are starving. And when they see this, they know that there is life on Earth. So when they find the Voyager, they've detected us. Now, I wanted just to give a little perspective. In Star Trek, Kirk and those guys, they were 300 years in advance from us. The Next Generation, they were 400 years in advance from us. And, of course, they had force fields and starships and phasers and all those different things. These guys are 2,000 years ahead of us. So put it in perspective, it would be like SEAL Team 6 Army against an army of cavemen.
Okay,
so
yeah, okay.
We would be hopefully outnumbered. Unlike Independence Day, where it shows that we would have a chance, that wouldn't be the fact case at all.
Right.
So, the thing is, what happens is the devil is really worried about the situation, and what he does is he calls Thomas. When Thomas goes into a dream world, he calls into Thomas, and Thomas goes into this dream, and he says, wow, this dream is so real and vivid and all of that. I've never had dreams like this. So what he ends up doing is he's meeting the devil, and the devil explains to him what's happened, that your Voyager spacecraft has detected a real bad group of aliens, and what they're going to come do is they see Earth as one giant supermarket with 7 billion people for dinner, and not to mention vegetation and animals and everything else. It's like one big, huge supermarket. So, of course, Thomas in the story says, well, this is just a dream. That's really amusing and all that. And, that doesn't really pay much attention to it. And, of course, Thomas is also scarred in life because he found his best friend the day after Thanksgiving had choked in the night, and he tried to revive him with CPR, and he couldn't. And he's just life-scarred, and he's very, pessimistic about religion and all these things. So he asked the devil, he says, why would you want to save Earth? You're not known for your charitable events and the things that you do. And the devil tries to explain that, without humans, I would have no meaning.
That's right.
I basically torment you guys and everything, and that's true. But without you guys, I would die because I would have no meaning in life. So what he ends up doing is I have a class ring, or Thomas has a class ring in which he endows unlimited supernatural powers to. And he says, you are going to be the force that's going to stop these guys. So, I wake up the next morning and thinking, oh, wow, that was quite the dream. I haven't had one, like that in a while. And I go on with my day, go to the store, come back, and Thomas ends up coming back, and his nephews come home early from work, and he's got all his friends, and they're all focused on the TV. And the TV has got a special news report that Voyager has sent back a message. And it wasn't even known that it was capable of sending back actual verbal messages. Usually it's just pictures and data. And it sent back a link in all languages, even dead languages, and some languages that they couldn't even identify. And the message was, prepare yourselves, prepare your families, prepare for death. And, of course, that doesn't sound like a very positive note.
Yeah, very impactful.
Yes. So everybody, of course, is very worried about this. And, and the rest of the story of this book, the first book, is the devil trying to teach me how to use the powers of the ring to be able to defend Earth and to be able to save us from this incoming alien attack. And that's why the second one is basically called The Devil's Science, Book 2, David and Goliath. Because David and Goliath, obviously you have just this one small guy against this huge giant, and that's what it is in the story.
My goodness.
One person.
I want to cut you short only because we ran out of time, but you definitely held our attention. So what we need to do is read the books. Now, we are lucky to tell you that we have some that we can give you right now. How many do we have?
Two.
We have 2 books.
Yep.
So if you call right now, you can we can give them to 2 different people. You will be the recipients of these books. You can pick them up here at the station. The rest of us have to go buy them. I only have 30 seconds to get that information out, Jade. Do you have a website?
Well, mostly it would be Jay Hems at my Facebook, and that's where the best place to keep updated. If anybody wants any more shirts or things of that nature, I would be able to give that to them. I want to give a quick shout out to Wells Fargo and to Vistaprint that they donated all this stuff to help me with my book.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay. Jay, thank you. We'll make sure we post this video as well as the website and other contact information on Facebook and YouTube. And Robin will connect with you later. We'll be right back.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A spate of terror threats against schools, kicking up security at some popular venues for children.
Disney will install metal detectors at theme parks in Florida and California.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown. Disney also banning the sale of toy guns at those parks. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers getting ready to vote on $2 trillion worth of legislation. One, a tax break package in the House.
It would extend some 24 or so tax breaks, make them permanent, and it's a $650 billion package. It will also delay 3 Obamacare-related taxes, the Cadillac, the medical device tax, and an insurance sales tax. The House Speaker calls this an important deal.
Fox's Mike Emanuel. And applications for first-time jobless help last week falling 11,000 to 271,000. Fox News, we report. You decide.
Did you know that the average cost for a family of 4 to attend a professional baseball game is over $200? At the same time, over 40% of all sports, concert, and theater tickets go unsold. So how come we're all paying so much when so many seats go empty? I'm Adam Canner, founder of ScoreBig.com. We found a way to work directly with teams and venues to get their unsold seats and pass the huge savings on to you. On ScoreBig.com, we guarantee you'll save on great sports, concert, and theater tickets. And we're not talking about last-minute nosebleed seats to events you don't want to see, but millions of great seats for the best events, days, weeks, even months in advance. On ScoreBig.com, when you successfully name a ticket price, on average, you'll save over 33% below box office price each time you buy, with no added fees or shipping charges ever. There are lots of places to buy tickets, but if you really want to save, then check out ScoreBig.com.
And now save even more at ScoreBig.com. Click on the radio mic and enter code 777, and we'll take an additional $30 off your ticket purchase. That's ScoreBig.com, promo code 777.
It's time for Farm and Range headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. The Georgia Federal State Inspection Service has issued a new update on the harvesting of peanuts. We're now up to 93.2%. That's 2,877,000 tons of peanuts that have been inspected by the Inspection Service. In Alabama, they're past their 361,000 tons, and that's 101.8% in Alabama. Florida's stuck at 82%, and Georgia now with 96.3% of 1,653,000 tons. There are peanuts still coming in at various buying points, and federal state is having to move around a few people to help try to get them covered and get them inspected and into the warehouse.
We are farmers. We are all day long doers. Agriculture isn't just our industry, it's our way of life. We invest in equipment that's long-lasting, economical, and environmentally conscious because that's what it takes to do the job right. We're all about greater horsepower and cleaner emissions, new implements, more attachments, better technology, and dependable engineering. For all your ag equipment needs, we are Kubota.
Some meetings coming up that you want to mark on your calendar. Coming up February 1st and 2nd, the Georgia-Alabama Crop Consultants meeting has been announced. That'll be Monday and Tuesday at Lake Point Resort in Eufaula, Alabama. The Georgia Peanut Farm Show has been announced for Thursday, January the 21st. It'll be held in Tifton, Georgia. They expect about 2,000 farmers at the University of Georgia Tifton Campus Conference Center. Registration for exhibits is now open by contacting the Georgia Peanut Commission in Tifton. Also, during that session, the University of Georgia will be sponsoring a production seminar, and there's also other seminar, a seed seminar, during that program for a one-day meeting on January the 21st. Mark your calendar and make plans to be there. I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
You're listening to the John Deere Livestock Radio Network.
Well, you have to admit that these colder temperatures make it more difficult to get started on your chores. Winter makes everything a bit more difficult. From working to walking to just breathing. Same goes for tractor engines. Barbara Goodrich, an engineer at the John Deere Waterloo factory, can tell us the steps an operator can take to reduce cold starting issues with diesel engines.
You want to make sure that you pick a fuel that's in the right cloud point range for your outside temperatures, and you can further enhance that operability by putting in a good cold filter plug-in point additive. And depending on the fuel, you can get up to 18 degrees F improved operability. And that's probably the top limit on there for improved operability, no matter whose CFPP additive you're using.
And what about engine lubrication?
You want to make sure that you're in the right viscosity range for your engine oil. If it is above 5 degrees F or minus 15 degrees C, your 15W40 engine oil is fine to use. Below that, you may want to look at switching to a 0W40.
Well, so cold weather's not so bad if you're protected. Man, beast, or machine. That's all for this week's John Deere Livestock Radio Report. Be sure to tune in next week on the John Deere Livestock Radio Network. There's nothing